Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blazing bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the Forgotten Realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the Forgotten Realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
I'm really glad I wasn't singing along fully to that, because my mic was hot the whole time. Welcome, everybody, to another Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show, here on the C&E Games channel, where I, Gaarawarr, will attempt to tutorial. Today, the topic is Idle Champions Presents Party 2. Party 2. That was like the shortest way we could make this title. Otherwise, it was going to be really long. Idle Champions Presents The Trials of Mount Tiamat, Party 2. Like, you know, that doesn't fit on the screen, really. So yeah, today we're going to talk about Tahani, Minsk, Penelope, Shaka, and a little about Whittle. Yeah. Now Whittle is the upcoming champion. She has not arrived in-game yet, but we do have a champion spotlight. We're going to spotlight that. And we'll discuss her in that way. She will arrive on Wednesday, though. She will arrive on Wednesday. So everyone in this... You can't play with everybody in this party yet, but soon. Soon. Much like Brig, when he was announced, he made his grand appearance on Idle Champions Presents... Episode 1 with Party 1. We're going to do the same thing with Whittle. So you can see the four of the 5 champions we're going to talk about today on the screen. We're going to dive into them momentarily. First, just a reminder for those of you who have not been to one of these shows before. This show specifically is broken into 2-hour-long segments. The first hour-ish, I talk all about whatever the topic is. And the second hour, I do questions. So that doesn't mean you can't ask questions in the first hour as they occur to you. As they pop into your head, you can type them into chat. And Mars, who is in the mod pod today, will grab them and throw them in a little document here for me to read. So you only have to push a question once. I'll grab it. Or Mars will grab it. And then I will get it in the second half of the show. So yeah, I guess we dive right in. For those of you who don't know, all of these champions are obviously, since they're showing up on a stream, all of them are going to be played by different people. In most cases, they're creators. In one case is unique. We'll get to that. So, Penelope, half pint, who you see in the shrubbery on screen, she is played by Hope Lavelle on Heroes of the Plains. She's one of the members of Heroes of the Plains. Tahani, who's our fighting Aarakocra painter, is played by Latia Jacques on Rivals of Waterdeep. I almost said Heroes of Waterdeep, and that's not the show. Rivals of Waterdeep. Shaka at the top in the fantastic outfit is played by Sharif Jackson, again on Rivals of Waterdeep. And Whittle, who is not pictured, but, well, I guess we can make Whittle pictured. Whittle, arriving on Wednesday. Whittle is played by Megan Kenrick on Heroes of the Plains. That is the key art for Whittle. And then the final one, Minsk and Boo, who we see on the bottom in their Ascendant skin, all ready to go for trials. Minsk is actually going to be played not by their creator per se, but by the person who actually writes them and the other members of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate for the comics, Jim Zub. Jim Zub has played Minsk before for D&D, I believe for the Descent into Avernus reveal. He played Minsk and Matthew Mercer played Boo. There was no Boo announcement, so I'm hoping Boo shows up, but I'm guessing Boo is not going to be played by Matthew Mercer for Idle Champions Part 2. Yeah, sad. As a sad. But yeah, I look forward to seeing Jim reprise his role as Minsk. He did a good job last time. All right. So let us talk. We'll leave Whittle for last. So you're gonna have to wait a little while longer for me to discuss Whittle. Let's start off with Tahani. Tahani's slot 1. Tahani is a more recent arrival to the game. So you can see a cat, a good Aarakocra, Kensai Monk. DPS gold, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's really DPS. The gold is minimal. I'm glad they put a gold fine tag on a champion that provides gold. It's a good trend. Let's see more of that. But ultimately, Tahani is a DPS. Base attack is Fists of Fury. Tahani attacks a random painted enemy. What does that mean? If no enemies are painted, Tahani attacks the nearest enemy. Well, let's figure out what paint means. Paint is one of the ability features. So paint them red. When Tahani attacks, she paints the enemy red. An enemy can be painted up to 3 times. Tahani's damage is increased by 1%, which is variable with lots of things, for each stroke of paint on the screen, stacking additively. So not on the enemy, on the screen. Let's go ahead and start some progress up here. So paint them red is a nice big damage boost, right? And the more paint you get on the screen, the more damage Tahani does. That's kind of the key to this. And attacking is one way to spread paint. Friendly rivalry. Tahani's damage is increased by 100% for each rival of Waterdeep in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. We do have a few heroes, rivals of Waterdeep. Tahani, Solis, and Shaka currently in the game. Not a super strong ability currently, but it's gonna get more powerful as they add more of the rivals. So keep that in mind. That one's to be improved basically with the arrival of other people. Way of the Brush. Tahani's damage is increased by 100%. Tahani keeps track of the total number of enemies she had painted across all time. That means that this is a permanent stacking ability. So forever and ever and ever. This is going to track up like Zorbu, like Torrigar, like Black Viper. This is how you're gonna keep track of those stacks. At certain thresholds of painted enemies, Tahani increases her layer of Way of the Brush. Each layer increases this effect by an additional 100%, stacking multiplicatively. Once Tahani reaches layer 10, each additional enemy painted increases the buff by 0.03% additively. So basically, you need to get to layer 10 before you get to the point where this is like, okay, now we're counting all these stacks, right? Layer 10 is up there, folks. Layer 10 is a very high number. There's a chart that breaks it down in my guide to Tahani, which you can hit up on the subreddit. So it does take a lot of work to stack up Tahani. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, specializations. Splash of yellow, stroke of green, or blotch of blue. So splash of yellow is the gold find. So this specialization is the only way you put gold find on Tahani in an ability. So keep in mind, if you do not pick that specialization, Tahani isn't contributing gold. It does increase... basically, enemies that are painted with the yellow drop 200% more gold when they're killed. So yeah. Stroke of green. This is the one that primarily, if you're using Tahani, you probably want to go stroke of green. Enemies Tahani paint also gain a stroke of green. Enemies painted in this way cause Tahani's attacks against them to damage nearby enemies as well at 50% damage. This effect does not chain, but it does apply paint to the enemies it damages. So this is a way to not only get some AoE damage and wave clear for a single target DPS, but also to paint more enemies. So when you're getting close to your wall and enemies are building up on your tank, and Tahani paints one of them green and then hits them again, it then splashes paint on everyone. And as we know from the first ability, the more enemies that have paint on them, the more damage Tahani does. So she's basically self-buffing. Stroke of green is a nice self-buff for Tahani, as well as a way to provide AoE damage. So Stroke of green gets the Gaarawarr seal of approval. Is that a thing? Are we doing that now? No. Blotch of blue. Enemies Tahani paints get a blotch of blue. Enemies painted this way are stunned for 2 seconds when Tahani attacks them. And boss enemies painted in this way take 400% more damage from all attacks. So this is a way to boost your damage against bosses, ultimately. You do get some crowd control with the stun, but ultimately it's about, can I do a nice bit more damage against a boss, right? But again, I'm a fan of the green. We're going to go with the green. Let's throw some more levels over here and the familiar. Flurry of brushes is the ultimate. That is the next. Yeah, that's all we got after that. Okay. Just making sure. Flurry of brushes. Tahani pulls a quiver of sharpened paint brushes from her robes and flings them out at 5 random enemies. They deal damage and apply Tahani's paint to all enemies they hit. So this is another way to apply a bit more paint to potentially random enemies that don't have some already. We're not going to see a whole lot here, but let's light it up. Boom. It just kind of... Yeah, normally you see this is a real bad place to design this, but hey, look, there's paint everywhere, so Tahani's happy. Basically, you would see those 5 little darts shoot out from Tahani. Hold on, I can't do this without a different familiar out here. Let's bring the Phoenix out. The Mage Hand. I'm sorry, I looked at the Mage Hand for too long in this game, folks. All right, so that's going to be Tahani gear. As you'd expect out of a DPS, to double self-damage, you've got a buff for Paint Them Red, you've got a buff for Friendly Rivalry, and that's it. Then it's ultimate stuff. Feat-wise, she does get the same self-damage stuff. She gets a bunch for Paint Them Red and Friendly Rivalry. It's almost like they're going in on those 2 abilities. And she does get a gold find feat, the only other way you can get her to provide some gold. Not a whole lot, though. Just 25%. Just 25%. Next up, Minsk and Boo. Or Boo and Minsk, depending on your perspective. This is the normal skin. This is Ascendant, Blood War, Champion Minsk, and Giant Boo costume. And what you don't notice, it's hard to see, is Boo is actually dressed as Minsk. but Boo's real tiny right here. Yeah, that one's great. We'll do the Ascendant one. This is the skin specifically for Idle Champions Presents Trials of Mount Tiamat. Minsk, one of the core champions in the game. You start the game with Minsk. So you should be somewhat familiar with Minsk. Basic attack is a cleave. Cleaves all targets nearest the enemy. Oh, I guess I should mention he is a human ranger. Got a good DPS support, but, you know. Here's a Baldur's Gate, Delina, Krydal, Minsk, Naris, Shandy. Delina? There's a Delina in the game? Level 50, first off. Oh, wow, I forgot. Yeah, Minsk's first ability, everyone, is Boastful. Whenever a non-boss enemy wave spawns, there's a 10% chance of an extra enemy spawning and a 2% chance of 2 extra enemies spawning. This is supposed to be a speed effect. There's going to be a speed tag added to the game under roles here soon, coming up with Whittle's arrival on the 10th. When it does, Minsk is apparently getting a speed tag for this ability. But let me just say, it's a 1 in 10 chance. Once every 10 levels, you're going to get 1 extra enemy. Well, once every 10 waves, excuse me. You're going to get 1 extra enemy if RNG likes you, right? Yeah, just on average. And 1 every 50, you'll get 2. But you can't increase this with anything. This is not what anyone should call a functional speed ability. Just so you know, don't get too hyped about the speed that Minsk provides when he gets a speed tag. Minsk's specialization is his favorite enemy, and this is really the core of Minsk's kit. This is all Minsk really brings to the table. You can choose between humanoids, beasts, undead, fae, and monstrosities. No, everything in the game does not fall under these 5 categories. There are lots of things in this game that are not these 5 things. So if you are hovering over something that says dragon, and you're going, is that fall under beast or monstrosity? No, it falls under dragon. If you see elemental, nope, none of these. Aberration, no, none of these. Okay, literally when you hover over an enemy, let's see if we can get one to pop up. This says fiend. These are fiends. There's no fiend here. Okay, I want to be very clear because we get a lot of people asking this question when they start the game. Nope. Minsk only provides this main core ability against whatever of these things you choose. So when you're doing an adventure, if there's primarily humanoids that you're killing, you choose humanoids. If there's none of these things, I mean, there's going to be something. One of these things is going to be in a run somewhere, but it may only be on a couple levels. Then pick the one you get for a couple levels, but just know that Minsk is probably not your best choice in those situations. But say you're doing beast intentions, where it's primarily beasts. Well, favorite enemy beast is going to do a lot of work for you. I'm just going to pick one because we're in Avernus and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter here because everything here is fiends. So yeah, that's the core thing. And this increases damage done to humanoid enemies, and it's by everybody in the party. It will put a little red circle under the enemy, and in that circle it'll be a red skull. So it's real super obvious when you find his favorite enemy. There's only one familiar we can put on Minsk, and of course, it's Boo. All right. That's not true. You can put whatever familiar you want there, but I only put Boo on Minsk. Overkill, next ability. This is so favorite enemy is Minsk's support ability, but is also the core of the kit. Overkill is his DPS ability. So whenever Minsk hits a single enemy with his cleave, he deals more damage. So this is for boss killing specifically. So this is his DPS ability for killing a boss. This does nothing for support wise. Legendary Slayer, Minsk deals extra damage against his favorite enemies, so he gets to be more of a DPS against his favorite enemies. And that's it, folks. That's it. So again, If favored enemy, with whatever favored enemy you choose for Minsk does not apply on that run, then you need to find a different support. That doesn't mean he doesn't have some support like upgrades. He does have like damage all champions upgrades. It just means he's going to be a real bad support for you. Which is why we tend to recommend finding a good swap for like Jarlaxle and Minsk early on, so that you can get a little more support in your formation. So items, ultimate. This is the other support. The ultimate is pretty supporty. People like the ultimate. Go for the eyes. Minsk swings his great sword in a massive circle centered on the frontmost enemy, while Boo leaps about, causing up to 5 random enemies to take additional damage for the next 30 seconds. We only have one enemy here, but Boo literally jumps out onto the enemy's shoulder and then like tags them and then debuffs them, and Minsk does his damage, and then everybody else does more damage, and we're going to die against the Hezru because the Hezru's armored and we don't have a tank. Oh no, Penelope! Alright, well, we'll sit over here. Damage items, double damage items. We get an overkill item and then a favored enemy item. So this is the support item. And then everything else is ultimate stuff. Feat-wise, damage all champion stuff. You get self-damage stuff. And he does have a favored enemy feat now. Mighty Helm. Yeah. So he does have a support feat. I should probably put that in there. I believe that came with the Ascendant skin, potentially. Yeah. Yep. Alright. So that's Minsk. On to Shaka. The well-dressed Celestial Warlock. Shaka's a Tiefling Warlock. Neutral good. Healing support champion. Again, rivals of Waterdeep. Basic attack, Eldritch Blast. Just like Makos, if you're familiar with Makos. Beam of Crackling Green energy. Crackling Green shoots towards an enemy dealing damage. So, can we get, again, this is probably not. Yeah, it looked like that. That was it. Celestial Puzzle is kind of the center of the kit. Shaka attempts to solve a celestial puzzle with the potential for great rewards. 4 random slots in the formation are assigned a random tag. For each champion in those slots that match the slot's tag, Shaka buffs the party now by 150%. There's a recent adjustment that made this stronger. Stacking multiplicatively. What's the tag look like down here where it says male non-binary, and up here where it says elf? You kind of have to move them around. It doesn't show. It would be really nice if it showed them over empty ones. There's gold, female non-binary, right? So you're getting more damages when you put people in places, and you can tell if they activate it. Like up here, elf doing nothing, right? But down here, they've got a nice little glow around their feet. That means you have lit up the celestial puzzle. Celestial resistance. Shaka adds 10 temporary health to the entire party when changing areas. This is increased by 25% for each a celestial puzzle slot that is filled properly, and it's stacking additively. That's a really small amount, folks. That's a really small amount. So this isn't necessarily something to super rely on. It does get bigger as you level them up. But it's not, it doesn't ever, we'll see. I'm going to level them up as much as I can here, and we'll see, but it doesn't really get a whole lot better. I need to put some kind of tank up here so that everybody doesn't die while we fight a boss. Because I'd like to go further than just where we are. Alright. Feast or Famine. Shaka increases the effect of a celestial puzzle by 20% for each puzzle slot he's adjacent to. This ability can be buffed by equipment and feats. So, if I put Shaka back here, I'm adjacent to 2 of the celestial puzzle slots that are lit up. And that's going to give me a buff overall. So again, celestial puzzle, core of the kit, everything kind of balances around that. Specializations even go into that as well. The first one, Sunday edition, gives you a 5th puzzle slot. So more potential boost. Better luck next time kind of re-rolls where the slots go. I don't recommend this one. Sunday edition's really what you want. If your slots aren't great when you unlock Shaka and get Celestial Puzzle unlocked, it's kind of one of those things where unless you're in an event run where you've spent tokens to be there, you kind of just want to restart the run, and because restarting the run will re-roll the slots, and then like if you're that worried about it, that's what you do. So Sunday edition really just is what you should be using. They do get a second specialization a little later on. This is their actual ultimate, because they don't get it. This is their ultimate unlock, and it is via the specialization. You go Blinding Wall of Light or Disintegrating Wall of Light. Blinding Wall of Light kind of slows enemies and affects them. It's kind of a defensive measure, and it kind of sits up here in the formation. Whereas Disintegrating Wall of Light is a damaging one that sits back here, like right on the spawn point. And what it is, it has a chance of literally just one-shotting enemies as they pass through it, and that does include bosses as well. Just note that if it's a stationary boss that is sitting up here, it can't pass through the wall and does nothing. Or if it's a zombie T-Rex puking out waves of enemies, the wall shows up back here and it can't do anything. So, especially where we are right now, we want to do. So you have to keep in mind exactly what the wall is where the wall is going to be placed, and if it's going to be useless in that placement, then you need to pick a different wall. Frankly, you know what? I want this guy. I want this guy. All right, yep, that's everything. So the wall, now that we have it, we'll show it off. All enemies are pushed back slightly, and then a wall of light appears in front of the formation for 15 seconds. Enemies that pass through that wall of light take damage and gain a brilliant white glow under their feet for 30 seconds. Enemies with this glow have a 75% chance to miss with all attacks. So it's a nice defensive feature. Pops up right there. So if that's kind of where you have to be, like if this isn't going to be over here, isn't going to do anything for you, you want it over here. And as we saw when that Barb Devil went through, he did get that glow under his feet. He did get that glow. See, now we've updated. The shield is now actually a decent number. It didn't update here. Hold on. Does it? No. Okay, it updates over here. All right, so if you want to see, it starts off at 10. 10 must be the base, and it's not. They didn't code this so that it actually updates over here. So to see what your Celestial Resistance actually is, you're going to come over to the Formation Buffs tab. Right now we're at 647, roughly. Which is okay, but it's not a lot compared to... It's a lot right now when he doesn't have any health, but we don't have any tanks in the party, which is why he doesn't have any health. If I put a tank in the party... suddenly this isn't really as big of a deal, right? So no, it is still a survivability bonus that Shaka can provide in those situations. Item-wise, damage all champions, because support. Celestial Puzzle, Celestial Resistance, so this is the shield. Feast or Famine, so again, focusing back in on Celestial Puzzle. And then cooldown reduction, because doing damage wouldn't really matter. Feat-wise, damage all champions, Celestial Puzzle, Celestial Resistance. Again, you can go in and try to make the shields a little bit bigger. And then a Feast or Famine one. So, again, Feast or Famine, very appropriate term for Shaka, all things considered. Whew, that Howler's ugly. All right, on to Penelope. If you haven't noticed so far, folks, Penelope's walk is unique in this game. When she's walking along, she's not walking, she's skipping. It's fantastic. Penelope is a halfling druid / warlock. Chaotic good, healing, support, and gold. And member of the Heroes of the Plains. Go away as the base attack. Penelope jumps out and hits the closest enemy with her quarterstaff, dealing damage and knocking it back slightly. Quarterstaff being this big tree branch. Have you met my friends? First ability. Whenever Penelope attacks an enemy and doesn't kill it for the next 30 seconds, all champions deal more damage against them. So basically it's a debuff, but it's only applied when Penelope attacks the enemy. So There are situations where maybe some things might slow down. Like if you have Point in your formation, you don't want Penelope next to Point. Penelope needs to be attacking as often as possible to spread this around. Again, it still only lasts for 30 seconds, but hey, take whatever you can get. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Real quick with the specializations, you keep your friends close, keep your future friends closer, and everybody gets to be friends because Penelope, the friendliest champion in the game. If you're not Penelope's friend, it's more that you're just not Penelope's friend yet. So for keep your friends close, you buff have you met my friends by 60% for each good champion in the formation. So this, as you can see, is about alignment. Keep future friends closer is 40% for each evil champion in the formation. And everybody gets to be friends is 20% for just each champion in the formation. So basically, you got to do some math here, folks. There's no way around it. I tend to default into keep your friends close. But if you're trying to eke out every last percent of bonus from Penelope, you need to look at what your actual pushing formation is and figure out which one of these is going to get you the biggest bonus. That's just the best way to do it. The actual ultimate special is... oh, no, this isn't her ultimate. It's a feature. Never mind. Minor eruption. I'm getting confused in my champions again. Minor eruption. Penelope's base attack now causes a minor eruption under the enemy she hits, dealing damage in a small radius and leaving difficult terrain under them. Difficult terrain slows the enemies down. So this not only gives her a little bit of AoE damage, which is good for certain things in the game, it also creates a slow field. Hey, batter, Penelope's base attack knockback is now 4 times as effective. I mean, she really chunks them back. But it's only against non-boss enemies, and her damage is increased by 200%. It's like they tried to make her a DPS. I get it, thematically. But she's not a DPS. Not a DPS. All right. Chewinga Mask. This is kind of the big part. The one that you want to place her around in your formation. So when you're figuring out where does Penelope go, Chewinga Mask. Whenever the formation is under attack, Penelope dons her Chewinga Mask, calling an elemental friend to her aid. That's Walton. Walton sits on her shoulder while her mask is on. All champions adjacent to Penelope gain the following charms based on their tags. Charms last as long as the formation is under attack, and then for 10 seconds afterwards. So Healing Charm, Penelope heals adjacent tank champions. This is where her healing effect comes in, but only on tank champions, for an amount every second. Or Tools for the Job Charm. Penelope increases the damage of all champions by 100% for each adjacent healing, support, or gold find champion. So ultimately you want Penelope surrounded by friends that have these tags, either healing, support, or gold find tags. That's going to give you the biggest tools for the job bonus. If for some reason you needed the healing, I mean, that's kind of a bonus if you can get them next to the tank, but really it's just make sure you're getting as many tools for the job as possible. Story time. Each time a champion within 2 slots of Penelope kills an enemy, add a stack of story time. So this means you do want Penelope within at least 2 of your primary DPS. So another placement, formation placement hint here. Storytime stacks are capped at 25. This stuff is changing, folks. I just want to... I'll go over the changes when we get to Whittle. Each time a champion... Okay. Storytime stacks are capped at 25. The stacks of storytime affect both charms given by Chewinga Mask. Every time you change areas, reduce stacks of storytime by half, rounded down. Erupting Earth is the ultimate. That's what I got confused. Minor eruption. Anytime I see the erupt. Erupting Earth is like a bigger version. A fountain of churned earth and stone erupt under the nearest enemy, dealing AoE damage in a large radius and creating difficult terrain that slows an enemy by 50%, and it lasts for 30 seconds. Boom! That was it. That's the big version, and you can see this is all the difficult terrain. Look at how much it slows them down, even though this is a wasp and it should be flying over it. But immersion. Do we have... Oh, yeah, there we go. We've got a Chewinga familiar for Penelope. We've got a Chewinga familiar. Gear-wise, damage all champions. She gets one of those, and then it goes into abilities. So, Have You Met My Friends? Healing Charm, Tools for the Job, and then ultimate stuff. Feats, damage all champions. Have You Met My Friends? There's a Chewinga Mask one and a Tools for the Job one, so you can kind of get into all the abilities, but it's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. Again, there are changes coming. So one of the things that they have done with... gotta make sure I have the right information, because I don't think it's listed in the blog post I was going to discuss. Oh, no, it is. Okay. All right. One of the things they're doing with Idle Champions Presents, which I didn't mention this at the top because I kind of figure if you're here, we already know. It's right up here. Idle Champions Presents. It's the show. It's the TTRPG live play show that happens Mondays. B. Dave Walters is the DM, and all those people I mentioned are the players in Party 2. We already did all the Party 1 stuff. They spoilers. Well, no, I won't do spoilers. You can go watch it. So yeah, Idle Champions Presents. One of the things they're doing with Idle Champions Presents is with some of the champions, if they felt like maybe this champion needs a little bit of a buff, in our opinion, then they gave them buffs. So with Party 1, we saw Frida and Havilar get a little bit of a boost. We saw Celise get a boost, so they were doing stuff. So in this time around, Penelope's getting a little bit of a boost. But Penelope wasn't the only one. Is it over? Going through all my tabs, folks. I actually thought this was already in the game. So yeah, they buffed Celise last time, Havilar and Frida. This time it's Penelope and Shaka. So Shaka's is already in the game. We already talked about that. So Shaka's base effect for Celestial Puzzle went from 100% to 150. For some reason, Penelope's bonus isn't in the game. So I guess they were waiting until Whittle arrives. So the changes for Penelope, since we just discussed her minor eruption, the one that we were talking about, whereas when she attacks, it does a small version of that. And it does AoE damage. That is now going to apply the Have You Met My Friends debuff. So she will now be able to AoE once you choose, if you choose, not once you choose, but I think it's you kind of have to. If you choose Minor Eruption as the specialization, her debuff becomes an AoE. Again, I think that's the winner. I think most people have been using Minor Eruption anyway, but it's definitely the winner now. So the max storytime stacks, when I was reading storytime, it said max was 25. That's going up to 40. So that's nicer. And the base effect of Have You Met My Friends is going from 300% to 500%. So there is a nice jump there for the base, the non-modified version, which means the modified versions obviously get higher, because that's how math works. And then the Tools for the Job Charm Gold bonus. Originally the base was 10%, and it's going up to 15%. So she's becoming a AoE debuffer. She's getting more storytime stacks. She's getting a bigger debuff, and she's getting more of a gold find bonus. So Penelope's got some bonuses. Got some bonuses coming. But again, it's not, for whatever reason, I thought they'd already patched that in. It was right here. I guess I could have looked there, but it's not. We just looked. It's not over here. Bug. It's a bug. Yeah, it's supposed to be 40. Is it changed over here? It is over here. So it's a visual bug, folks. Visual bug only. So this must be hard. Yeah, they hard-coded some of this stuff and then they didn't go update it. So it does effectively doing the 40 stacks. It's just, and here's the 15%. Yep. Oh, one thing I want to point out on Penelope, this does get confusing if you'll notice. Hey, but why is there no gold find bonus? Well, because the formation isn't under attack. Right? And these things don't really work. Because again, remember, Chonga Mask says whenever the formation is under attack. So until the formation's actually under attack, those bonuses don't actually kick in. Don't actually kick in. All right. That leaves us with one champion who is not currently in the game to talk about. Whittle. Oh, there's the group for... there's party 2. Those are the faces you're going to be seeing on Monday. Here's the face you're going to see on Wednesday. Whittle. Whittle's a gnome Dampier. What's a Dampier, folks? It's like a vampire with less problems. Or as I like to say the other day, vampires are dry, Dampiers are wet. That's really the only difference in my head. But no, basically a vampire with less of the issues of being a vampire. Whittle is going to be a support, healing, and speed champion, arriving in slot 2. So with Celeste, and everybody else in that slot. There's going to be an update to Alindra when Whittle arrives. So keep that in mind. We won't necessarily go over that now, but that's in the blog post if you want to go read it. Basically making Heroes of Plains a better group. They already have some of the most OP champions in the game, and now they're just making them OP'er. Chaotic Neutral Dampier Gnome. Technically a wizard. Remember, Heroes of Plains. Going to be qualified for Vajra and Strahd. All of this is in the... look at that. That big blunderbuss. If you're going, wait, technically a wizard, why does she have a blunderbuss? Think of it like a spell focus. It's not an actual like gunpowder weapon. Her spells shoot out of the blunderbuss. Think of it like her version of a wizard's wand, right? So, Whittle's abilities. Blunderbolt. She fires a firebolt from her enormous blunderbuss, damaging random enemy. Formation abilities. This stuff gets... Whittle's going to be interesting. Yeah. Vampiric Gaze. Whittle charms those adjacent to her with her Vampiric Gaze, increasing their damage by 100%. So... you want Whittle adjacent to your DPS. That's what we're talking about. Hurry up now. Champions affected by Whittle's Vampiric Gaze have a 25% chance to immediately reset their base attack cooldown after they attack. So this is one of the few champions in the game that are going to potentially give you more wave clear via resetting your attack cooldown. And it gets better, folks. I'm going to jump down to only as slow as the fastest link. Champions affected by Whittle's Vampiric Gaze have a basic attack cooldown equal to the quickest of the affected champions. So not only can she reset, 1 in 4 chance to reset your attack timer, she also makes champions attack faster, just straight up faster. So you're going to be looking at, when you're placing your deal, place your DPS next to Whittle. And then you want to make sure there's a support champion. I'm going to say support. Some people were like, well, let's just put a fast attack DPS champion in. Put a support champion in that has a fast attack speed. Do I know? I don't know which one has... I didn't go look through all 89 champions to see which one has the fastest attack speed. I know someone like, say, Birdsong has got a pretty fast attack speed. So go, figure out in your formation, you don't necessarily want to hinder your formation in terms of its buffs by putting the fastest attack speed one in if they're not really going to help support your bonuses. Because just because you're making them attack faster doesn't mean they're doing more damage. And damage is a big deal. damage is the deal. So just know that you want to make sure when you're building a formation, that if you can put the faster attacking support next to Whittle, that's good, because if they attack faster than your DPS now attacks real fast. Back up one bit. So tasty friends, champions affected by Whittle's vampiric gaze look extra tasty to enemies. Each affected champion increases the monster spawn speed by 10%, stacking additively. Let's be real clear here, folks. Let's go back to the game. Oh, hey, it's Tiamat. Let's back up. I don't want to look at you right now. Monster spawn speed is the speed at which an enemy goes from right here, where they're appearing on the screen, to right here, where they can be damaged by anything, like by click damage, like that little tiny window where these rocks are, between the right side of the screen and where these rocks are. It makes them go from here to here faster. That's it. It's not. It doesn't make them. It doesn't make the waves spawn faster. It gets them to the point where you can kill them faster. It doesn't make them move faster. Once they get out on the screen, it just makes them go from here to here faster. Why is that a speed effect? Because getting to the point where you can be killed is that actually, there's a decent amount of time it takes to get from that point A to point B there. And when you're doing speed runs, like for gems, or just at the beginning of a run, letting them die faster speeds you up and moves you through levels faster. Pretty significantly. Just the ability to kill them faster when you're instant killing them with click damage speeds up your progress quite a bit. We already see this effect in Deacon, primarily. It's also one of the options on Melf. And it's an effect on the speed core itself. So, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah. So they're adding another version of this. Shenaniganry to look out for. When Whittle arrives. We were talking about this yesterday. The speed effect. We have had situations in the past where monsters, if you had Deacon and Melf, and now you're adding Whittle, and potentially the speed effect on the core, all of those together, we've had that number get too high in the past, and monsters launched from the spawn point into the middle of the formation before the game even knew where they were. So, be aware that hopefully that got fixed. If it didn't, you're going to have to actually remove some speed to slow them down so you can kill them. And this has potential for some shenaniganry with just making outrageously fast attack speeds, but just know that attack speed is animation capped. So you can only attack as fast as the animation for attacking for that champion. And some champions seem to have faster attack animations than others. So keep that in mind. Specializations. So the specialization options for Whittle are really straightforward. It's really you're going to base this around who your primary DPS is, for the most part. You want to make sure that this is hitting your primary DPS, and then you want to look at who else you want Vampiric Gaze to affect. But the effects of Whittle's abilities on champions affected by Vampiric Gaze are increased by 50%, and then each of these is different stat combinations. So Strength and Dex, Intercon, or Wisdom and Charisma. You're shooting for 12 or higher, so you just, primary target DPS, secondary target, anybody else affected by Vampiric Gaze, set it to the one that's going to hit your DPS, and then hopefully as many of those others as possible. Ultimate ability, Vampiric Bite, of course. Whittle leaps out and ferociously bites a random enemy, dealing enormous damage. She then leaps back into the formation where her Vampiric Bite heals her and everyone affected by vampiric gaze, so everyone adjacent. So this is an adjacency heal, not unlike Eliwick's. Eliwick's, though, is a % of health, whereas Whittle's heals for an amount equal to her own max health. So this is really only going to be a solid heal for other squishies. So you don't necessarily need her adjacent to a tank, because her health shouldn't be. I mean, we'll have to see her health scales. I don't think she's getting any health upgrades because she's not a tank. So it should just be a big nice health bonus for squishies, and not for tanks. Item-wise, damage all champions. 2 of those. Vampiric Gaze, obviously. Tasty Friends. So this is, you get a speed item. CNE, please tell me you capped this one. Oh, please. So speed item, and then ultimate stuff. And that's it, folks. That's Whittle. That's a whittle about Whittle. Just a whittle bit. Just a whittle bit of a conversation about Whittle. Bam. And that's Tiamat. So, those are our 5 champions. Again, Whittle. Could you talk about her a whittle more? No. Done. Whittle arrives on Wednesday. Idle Champions presents the Trials of Mount Tiamat Party 2 starts Monday. So this is, if you didn't watch the first 3 episodes, that's okay. These 3 episodes stand on their own. They are chronologically happening at the same time as the first 3. So there shouldn't be any overlap. You know? So if you don't have to go back and watch all 3 episodes this weekend just to be able to watch Party 2 on Monday. But you might want to go back and watch them. They're all on VODs. They're not that long. They're good. All right. IRDC Mars has a bunch of questions in the document, so we have something to dive into right after the break. But first, we're going to the break with some bardic inspiration. Look, folks, there's only one song I could play on the break today. And it's Penelope's Won't You Be My Friend? Be right back.
Won't you be my friend? One without a fear. I've got a hand to lend. We'll be smiling through the air. They call me a half-pint sprout, but I want you to know, my friends say there is no doubt that I'm a whole hero. My love for adventure, second to none. So if you come along with me, we'll have lots of fun. Won't you be my friend? One without a fear. I've got a hand to lend. We'll be smiling through the air. Remember when things get dark, I can be your light. When you're ready to disembark, be there to fight. I'm going to mold the earth just to give you a hug. And when there's a storm outside, we'll be snug as a bug. Won't you be my friend? One without a fear. I've got a hand Won't you be my friend? One that I defend. I've got a hand to lend. You'll be smiling through the air. Won't you be my friend? One that I defend. I've got a hand to lend. Walk around the bend.
And we're back. Just going to say this out loud. No spoilers in chat, folks. The only place you can post spoilers from data mining is in the well of spoilers. Anywhere else, it's going to get deleted, and that's not welcome. If you see things on a third-party website, because there is no first-party website other than the blog I just showed you, if you see it anywhere else, it's a spoiler. If it's not in the game, it's a spoiler. You can only talk about it in the well of spoilers. So questions. I'm going to try to dive in and talk about and address questions for the topics that we're actually talking about today, the champions, and Idle Champions Presents, and then I'll come back to anything else. Is this the first event to have two champions from the same affiliation in it? I don't know. Maybe. We're now into year 5 of events. I honestly don't remember. I guess it's just not something I've really tried to, like, oh, I wonder, I don't know. Maybe? Yeah. I don't know. The real bunny beast. How many whittle puns can you make in 60 seconds? I mean, it depends on how whittle they really are, right? If they're so whittle they only take a second, then 60? I think we just have a lot of generic stuff. Dan's, you said Penelope knocks back non-boss enemies, but I'm pretty sure I've seen her knock back bosses. Is it part of... I think it's maybe a function... It's difficult to test here. Hold on. Tiamat is not going to be knocked back. So let's take a look. Maybe I was thinking about a different champion. She's just killing that one. Oh, okay. So regular bosses do get a minor knockback. Eh, solid. That works. So yeah, I must have been thinking of somebody else. It happens, folks. There's 89 champions in the game. There's 89 champions in the game. You said her spec only boosts a knockback against... Oh! That's the... Okay, so it's the spec then. That's where the confusion was. And then the knockback applies generally on her base attack. This one, now 4 times as effective against non-boss enemies. So I think the confusion was when I said the knockback is 4 times as effective against non-boss enemies. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work against bosses. It just means that it doesn't knock them back as far as others. That's where the confusion came in. All right. Yeah, I was like, Will minor eruption, Bishop, will minor eruption now cause the have you met my friend? Yes. Yes. That is now a thing. That is now a thing. Does Penelope AoE spec make her normal attack speed her debuff to potentially more than one enemy per attack? Yes, it's an AoE now. It's an AoE now. Orion the Wise, Whittle may be good for debuff. I just thought that because of the 30 seconds of Penelope debuff after attack. Just not sure if it's something with some... I mean, it just means that Penelope is now going to AoE it every 30 seconds. I don't know that it's Yeah, that's not going to change that. One thing I will say is that, you know who really likes to attack faster? You may not think this, but Krull. Krull's a debuff champion that applies their stacks of their buff or applies their debuff, specifically their plagues, based off attacking things. Making Krull attack faster? That's a real good idea. That's a real good idea. So, Whittle and Krull going to get along real well. Real well. Yeah. There are also other debuffers that apply single target on a base attack. So, you know, any of those. But Penelope's now an AoE with Minor Eruption. And you should be choosing Minor Eruption anyway. Does Chewing a Mask count like Avern's Mirrors, where if they have multiple tags, it counts multiple times? Don't believe so. I believe that specifically states it's just once. It may not state it here. It may just be... I'm pretty sure it's just once. But let me double check. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, folks, but I've got a guide for that. I just have to pull it up. Gaarawarr's Guide to... well, it's not called Gaarawarr's Guide to Penelope Half Pint, but there is a Year 4 Champion guide for Penelope made by moi. You can find it on my list on the subreddit. Yeah, so it was in the champion spotlight. Champions can only gain each charm once, even if they have multiple tags. So, yeah, it's an addendum that was in the that's in the champion spotlight. That's not noted here in game. Which honestly, they do that a lot, folks. I try to include that in my guides. I try to include all the information from the champion spotlight in my guides, specifically because they tend to not put all that stuff in the game. And I want to make sure people have access to it. Dan's... You mentioned that increased spawn speed is broken in the game before. Yeah. In a Dem site Insights a few weeks ago, Justin said that the new event champ broke the game and needed to be fixed. Maybe. Does this mean they fixed the game breaking from too much spawn speed? I don't know. They weren't specific about it, right? That'd be a good... I'd say, hey, go ask them next week, but they're not going to have a Dev Insights for... Like the next 2 Thursdays, this coming Thursday is a holiday in Canada. So no Dev Insights. The following Thursday is the day before their 24-hour extra live stream, so they're not doing that. But I think they might have a Dev Insights during the extra live stream, so show up and ask them there. Maybe now that Whittle's out, they'll give us a little more information about her. But it used to be that literally an enemy would spawn here and be in the middle of the formation. And because they're in the middle of it, because it was so fast, it was with a weekend buff with Melf. Because it was so fast, it would be standing right here. And then because it's in the middle of the formation and not in front of the formation, the champions don't attack it. And you can't really... Yeah, and it would just walk right off the screen, which would cause you to fail the level. It was hilarious. Well, I thought it was hilarious. It wasn't hilarious for all the people going, why is all of a sudden my speed runs are failing? Like, people didn't quite put 2 and 2 together there. Yeah. It was good times. Trombe, wouldn't Whittle heal be boosted by tank health share? Of course. So in a 3-tank formation or a 2-tank and Grommet, that's still a 3-tank formation. Or heal would be 3/4 of the tank line. I mean, that feels like a massive heal. It's a large heal. Almost Celeste ult massive. Celeste ult is the best heal in the game. It's 100% of everyone in the party's health. So, can you get can you get her heal? Can you get Whittle's heal to be larger? Yes, with health share. Yes. Also with health potions. Is it enough to keep a tank alive? No. No. It can be solid. It can be solid. There are ways to increase. I mean, there's some shenaniganry that can happen. There's ways to increase the healing that tanks in the front line receive. So it could up her heal to be pretty solid, but that means you have to put her next to all the tanks in your front line. And you're building around that, potentially. Like, it would take a very specific formation shape, like layout, to have both. And you'd be focused on healing, which is just not necessarily the greatest focus. Yeah. Yeah, you want to focus. I feel like your focus should... I mean, can you do it, and can you create some shenaniganry just to be able to say, hey, I can create a tank line that heals, like I can heal my tank line, like potentially 100%. Yeah, there's probably some shenaniganry that can pull off. Is that going to functionally help you push a lot further? Not really, because Briv already does that, right? I mean, you put Briv in the front line, and he already does that. And he does it every 10 hits or 10 seconds, and not just as an ultimate, right? So this feels more like, hey, we need some heals in the squishy for those areas where we're taking damage from everyone. And yeah, because it's just an adjacency thing, and it's not everybody. So yeah, I mean, you can make it okay, but it's not, like I said, I don't think it's something to rely on. Because she has a heal, they consider her a healer, kind of like Regis. Regis has a heal, but is he a healer? Same kind of scenario here. Eliwick has a heal. Is she a healer? Let's see. So Elduin. So short stack for bonds on Ashara. I mean, I always did shorty bonds anyway for Heroes of the Plains, but what does that leave on the first bond? I mean, you still run Potpourri. I run Potpourri and shorties all the time. I'm not sure what the trade-off is. Because Whittle's going to be here. So it would depend on... Like, I was already using Regis here for shorties. So yeah, I don't know that there's a problem there. Oh yeah, if you've been using Dinar as your Potpourri trigger, then yeah, that doesn't work. But for those of us that haven't, we're still Gucci. Is Whittle a short folk? It should be. Gnomes are not tall. Gnomes are not tall, and they're not a dwarf. Here's the thing. Dwarves are the only short folk that aren't included in the short folk bond, and that's because they're included in dwarves and elves. They were grandfathered into the first specialization choice. Yeah. Who's shielding the champs on the screen at the moment? That's Shaka. Remember, I said Shaka has a shield. It looks like it's a huge shield, but that's because we don't have a tank out here. So when it's compared to just pure squishy health, it's a big shield. So, you know, if you need if you aren't allowed any tanks, but you're allowed Shaka, you can use Shaka. If you have Calliope, though, Calliope is going to blow Shaka away. I had hoped when Shaka came out, he was going to be another kind of Calliope shield, but we didn't get that. Do you know if that's general? Dan's, do you think it was odd that in the first day of the week for Idle Champions prizes we got a mint skin instead of a Shaka skin? No? So if you didn't have Shaka, then the later vote for a shiny for Shaka or Penelope was weird, since you were voting between a next event champ and a champ you might not get from it. No? Because the skins aren't... These skin prizes don't grant the champion? Not every time that you get a skin in this game, like, it doesn't always give you the champion too. I think maybe that's where the confusion lies. I don't think... Did we... Hold on. Who did we have? Oh, it did do the unlock last time. No? I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to give Shaka out. I don't know. It's not, yeah, that's not... I guess I don't think about that because that's not my job to think about. I don't know. Chalk it up to another odd decision that they made about how they're doing voting and rewards. Yeah. Frowning fish. That kind of stuff is feedback that you should just give the devs. Asking me about it is just going to result in me going, and doesn't go anywhere. Frowning fish. Question, any shenanigans with Whittle and Orkira stacking? I mean, Orkira likes to Orkira attacks things to apply her debuff, so having Orkira next to Whittle is potentially useful. But Orkira's big debuff, it currently just comes off her ultimate. That's the broken thing that makes her incredibly strong right now, is her ultimate applying more than once. Yeah. The nice thing about putting Whittle next to Orkira is Orkira can't heal herself or anyone adjacent to her. So, you know, Whittle could heal Orkira, at least. At least. Will Whittle help you beat the impossible Strength 18 Patron variant in Avernus now? Ooh. I don't think so. Hold on. So, Might Makes Right is the one we're talking about, or the one they're talking about. Yeah, I mean that does add a lot more strength, but I don't know that one champion's going to be enough. I know for Zariel's version I need 82 more levels. And that's not going to do it. I don't know what I need for Strahd's version. Mertz and Vajra's is doable for Might Makes Right. Because I've done it. I've done all of their stuff. Except for the newest things, just because I haven't had time. So, I mean, it might help with Strahd's. I don't know right now with Strahd's. It might help with Strahd's. But I won't know until I try it. But it won't help. I mean, it'll get you close. It might get you closer with Zariel's, but it's not gonna. It's not gonna do a whole lot more. Because Dinar exists. Dinar already existed as a buffer in slot 2 that had Strength 18, and Dinar's a solid buffer. So just putting another one, like the slots I have that I needed Strength 18 in were 5, 7, 9, and 11, and that's not where she is. So yeah, I don't think so, Dance. Maybe for Strahd. Well, yeah, maybe for Strahd, because Dinar's a real dumb boy. Sorry, Dinar, but you know. So maybe for Strahd. Wow, I wouldn't have expected Whittle to have 18 strength. Dampier, right? Dampier. Also, Lugaru? Maybe? They don't have that in here, but Whittle's also like part Lugaru. I think maybe that was just too many things to include. Which is like a werewolf. So she's got the whole vampire and werewolf cross going on. But yeah, that's probably just straight up Dampier strength. probably. Morden, with Whittle's speed, does enemy spawn speed have a cap? Not unless they went in and gave it one. No. Whittle's coming next week, Wednesday. This, I guess it depends on how you refer to the week that's happening, and it's 4 days from now. 4 days from now. Okay, I'm gonna go back and hit. We're just gonna do all the general stuff. I think I was trying to say generic, and then I decided to say general. It's been a rough week, folks. Evil Emperor Zerg, Garen's Day Year 3. Oh, this is a clarification. Garen's Day Year 3, Omen and Jim are in one event. There you go. So this isn't the first one that... Dan's, there's the answer to your question. This isn't the first event to have 2 champs from the same affiliation. Biblicon, Timegate question. Dadius, Lucius, or Vlanya? Dadius. The real bunny... Oh, when we did that one. Did that one. Real bunny beast, I'm not doing your punny joke again. Sorry. Flanagan, I don't understand how well Morgaine works. Is she taking my gold? Yes. She takes your gold. She is a mercenary. You are paying her to kill things. Except in this game, you're paying her to buff you. Literally. The more gold you give her, the bigger the buff. But it's rated in orders of magnitude. So really, the way that what you want to do with Morgaine is when you stop to a Zaka farm somewhere that's real high and is going to get you more gold than you've ever gotten before, just in general in the game, you put Morgaine in for a little bit, like maybe 10, 15 minutes, and you let her soak up some of that gold. And that ramps up her order of magnitude on her buff. Then you pull her out and you go back to Zaka farming. Rest of the time, yeah, she's going to steal some of your gold. All the time she's in, she steals some of your gold, but the rest of the time it's not as helpful. It's, yeah. To Glitchy for my time gate, levels in Melf, Neris, or Strix. Oh, so you have them all and you just want to know, should you get more item levels in which one? I always choose whoever's the lowest item levels. And in that situation, yeah. I mean, if you want more speed, Melf. Otherwise, either way. Immortals, been playing for months now, consider myself at least mid to late game and still don't understand how item levels work. I'm mostly epic on all champions I regularly use. Then you're in the mid game. Mid game. How do the lower tier gear duplicates work mathematically when I have an epic already? So every duplicate provides a fixed amount of item levels. It should match what you get from blacksmithing contracts. So a duplicate white would just give you 1 item level. A duplicate green would give you 2. A duplicate blue would give you 6. And a duplicate epic would give you 24. So getting lower level duplicates is still giving you item levels. It's not as much as if you got a higher level duplicate. We just... You know what? Yeah. So that's... Yeah, that's how the lower tier duplicates work. Yeah, so just like blacksmithing contracts. Jant 1974. If you buy blessings when you're doing a run, do they take effect straight away or when you start your next run? Straight away. Straight away. Be careful doing that though, because when you're buying like at the end of a run, if you're still pushing, you're removing some of your gold find percent. So just keep that in mind. I tend to just buy at the beginning of my next run, but I'm weird. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to do that. Flanagan, sometimes Jarlath will attack some monsters from behind and returns to the formation looking backwards and not attacking. Have you seen this problem? Yeah, it's just usually it's a weird hitch in, well, I shouldn't say hitch and Jarlath in the same sentence. It's just a weird bug. It doesn't happen all the time, and usually it clears when you get to the next level. If not, just reset the level or restart your game. Yeah. But that's a support. Put in a support ticket for things like that, and it'll capture your game state, and then maybe at some point they'll rate it high enough to actually fix. Jumbalolo, how do you get better gear for Azaka and Dragonbait? You open regular silver and gold chests, as well as Electrums. Thought that once I got them, I could maybe buy chests in the shop for them. No, because they're regular. They're evergreen champions. Evergreen champions get their gear from regular silver and gold chests. So you can buy their stuff in the shop. It's regular silver and gold chests. You just go to gem items and you buy silver and gold chests with gems. Technically, you can buy them with cash too. You can buy gold chests with cash if you want. But that's what their gear comes out of. That's what their gear comes out of. Dr. Scott Math, I have a time gate. I need slots 2, 5, and 7 for party 2. Let's see, Whittle coming up in 2, yes. Lucius on December 1st and 7. Is there a best choice for 5? Briv? Briv's your best choice for 5? After Briv, Keelik, probably. Or Dadius, maybe. But yeah, Briv's the number one choice as an event champion in slot 5. Calliope's solid there already. Don't care what people say. But yeah, Briv's the other option there. Morden, I've been taking to doing lesser runs for Trials of Tiamat. Any chance the lesser blood vial drops will get increased? I don't know. I'm not a developer. They've said that they're looking at that kind of stuff, but I have no idea when they're actually going to change something, or even if. I'm running into timing with sliding start time and people being able to run something higher than heroic. Yeah, I get it. That's everybody's issue right now with Trials of Mount Tiamat. But that's a question for developer insights. I can only repeat what they have said, and that's that. Well, we're still keeping our eye on that. That's all we've heard since it came out. TG Nubis, time gates. I have a formation combo. I need more favor to push the final variant. I read that each time gate free play reset bumps the level reached requirement for chess. Can you do? No, that's not a. I don't know what you were reading, but they were really confusing and potentially wrong. Or maybe you're confusing different things. I'm not sure. So if you can't do the final variant in a time gate because it requires level 175, getting to area 175, so you need more favor, just do a free play. That's fine. Just do free play, farm favor like you would in an event or anywhere else, and then when you get enough favor, go back and do the variant. Like a 175 needs EO8 to be super easy. You try it before that, but yeah. The 125 is usually like EO6. Somewhere in there, EO5, EO6. I don't know. I've got guides for that. Because I can't remember that. This is why I make guides, folks, because I can't remember all the information all the time. So I look it up in my guides. But yeah. Doing free plays isn't going to change the area goal for your variant at all. What may be getting confused here is that you earn silver chests in time gates. You get one every unique 100 levels that you go. So if you complete area 100, you get a silver chest. It just shows up in your inventory. Then the next time you do a run, you complete area 100, it doesn't give you anything. But if you can get to 200, you'll get another silver chest, right? And then 300 and then 400, right? So on and so forth. That may be what you were thinking of, but that's not going to, that's not harmful to you. It's just a bonus. Just a bonus. Vince of Venom, which champions do you use for Potpourri? I usually use, I'm I think I've got or Kira, like in my final wall push, or Kira and Tyrell, along with Ashara, right? Because Tyrell's second best tank, but also great buffer in Moonbeam. But I have lots of item levels in Tyrell because my account's over 4 years old, right? So yeah, that's usually my Potpourri bond. Billiam Smith, I was in automatic mode and I think I got a shiny and a gold chest. Is that possible? Yeah. Shinies can drop in any chest that drops gear, which includes gold chests, right? And Electrum chests. But it's the same chance. It's 1 in 1,000. It's 1 in 1,000. So people usually see it more often in silvers because they tend to open more silvers. But it's the same chance in both places. Honda Hero, question. I use Potpourri and halflings. Not halflings. Half-bloods. I was like, Potpourri and halflings, that's short folk. Potpourri and half-bloods. How do you think that compares to short folk? It really just depends on what short folk you have and what their gear is, right? Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. I know there's a lot of people that do the half-bloods because they're using Briv in their formation, but I don't generally use Briv in my formations. Not for deep pushing, but that's a me thing. So if that's what works best for you, then go for it. But yeah, my tank's either usually Ayla or Tyrell. Well, it's Ayla, unless there's 2, and then it's Ayla and Tyrell. And if there's 3, then potentially I'm using Briv. But even then, I'm probably still running short folk and not half-blood. I don't know. That's a rare situation. JVC Aguiar, time get question. Birdsong, Solis, or Cathris? Ooh. I'll be honest. I get more use out of Solis and variants lately than I get out of Birdsong or Cathris. But I'm also doing higher level patron variants. But that's going to weight my opinion here, and I'm just going to say Solis. Kevin. Time gate question. I level 40, missing 2 epics, and I level 30, missing 1 epic. Which way would you go? Ooh. I mean, it depends on how much I use them both, but again, in general, well, yeah, I would go with the 30 with 1 epic because it's not only are they to the point where they're almost full epic, and for me, that's a good thing because that's when I don't put blacksmithing contracts on event champions until they're full epic. So for me, that means I can finish them off and get them up to my item level floor, which means making them more powerful. So for me, I would go with the one that's only missing 1 epic. If there was a way for you, if there was only a way in game that we could see what our pity timers were on champions and time gates, that would be another weight to add. But yeah. Orion the Wise, what champions are global healers? Wanted to do extreme heat for Strahd, but Tanarin or Kira are blocked. Keelik? Briv. First off. Briv. But doesn't Keelik go... All damage champions. Well, that would mean including Keelik. So yeah, Keelik. Briv. Calliope? But it's Strahd. It's Strahd. So Strahd's int 13. Keelik. Briv's not int 13, right? No. Okay, so Calliope? Int 12. Does she have an int? Oh, come on, game. Come on, game. Yeah, so Keelik. Found the dev debug menu. Is there anything useful or helpful there? I don't know. I don't use it. It's a dev debug menu. Silly Simon, have you got a favorite trials formation for high bud? E210 for Ashara, Potpourri Shorty seems to be my highest. To be completely honest, I don't care as long as I can reach the daily goal on day one, and as long as I can do that, we win. As long as at least most of the party does that, you win, right? So I probably haven't messed around with it as much as I need to. I think my Ashara goes higher than that, but that could be just a function of item levels and general overall account power. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I was talking about this yesterday. I think what people should measure their progress by is less what their best formation can do and more what their second best formation can do. Because if you lose Ashara with that Con 10 restriction day one, you still need to be able to post up and complete your day one progress. So figuring out what your, if you got Sorbu as a backup or whoever your backup is, figuring out who your backup DPS is and what they can do if you can't use Ashara is more my measure of strength for trials than what my Ashara can do. Because where I'm at right now, if I don't know that I can beat, because of the punishing way the system's balanced right now, if I don't know that because of the vial costs, if I don't know that I can beat whatever the next highest one is without Ashara, then I don't even want to try it. Which is unfortunate. So yeah, I don't know. I think my Ashara goes higher than that, but for reasons. But I think really you just want to... I think everyone's... Until they change it, you're better off figuring out what your second best one is. And then only doing things that you know you can complete that with. That's just my opinion. Kevin, any opinion on the Puff Familiar clearly being the button model? Sure, they literally just drew the thing once, folks, and then they just flipped the image so that it would look like it's two. It's not. It's always going to be facing. It's always going to be facing this way, this way. Sorry, I'm mirrored. It's always going to be facing the right side of the screen, so it was always going to be looking that way. It really doesn't. It's literally the same. It was the same art, folks. They just wanted you to name it. Demon Gur, should I wait to claim the Trials Week 4 reward Penelope slot 5 shiny until I get her next week? No, go ahead and grab it. Her clothes go in her closet, and she can get them when she arrives. It's basically they go in the collection. It'll be there. The Broken Jade, does Spurt Ultimate proc Strix Haunted? Yes. JVC, has anyone got any tips for doing a Serax puzzle? Oof. It's the last variant I need to do before Spirit of the Trickster Gods. Oof. A Serax puzzle can be rough. Strahd's, for me, is currently not doable. I literally can get to 500, but I only have 5 champions in my formation. And I just can't beat Strahd. Ultimately, I mean, I think I sat there for an hour trying different ways to beat Strahd on that, and I couldn't. Or not Strahd, excuse me, a Serac. Yeah, I don't think Serac, I kind of got a Serac there. Rector, a Serac. It's trying. So the tip is get as many viable champions as you can. If you don't have a full bench, like if you don't have like every champion in the game, then there might be champions that you're missing that could help you out there. Go get them. Right now, like I said, I've done it everywhere except for Strahd. And yeah, they just need to add a champion, like more champions for me to be able to do it. Vincent Venom, follow-up question. Is there actually a picture or a guide or something for the formation you're using for Ashara D pushing? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it's just... Hold on, let me... Do I have it over here? Yeah. Oh, here's... Yeah. Hold on. It's not going to load everything in if I don't have... Why, is this really? This seems wrong. Oh, it's not pulling in my familiars? Something like... Nope, that. That is, I guess, what I had as if... I haven't done a push here in a while, but this, I guess, is what I was doing. Why was I doing this? I don't know. Here's one. Yeah, that's a 4-2. That doesn't even work. Why was I doing that? I don't know. There was probably some reason this was the formation I was using, but yeah, I wouldn't really rely on that one. I don't know. I don't really. I mean, I just build whatever works best. It usually tends to have. Usually, see, I think this needs to be. This is the problem. It should look more like this. It should look more like this. Although Grom up there is questionable, but if I can pull it off, I do it. Yeah. So in an Avernus, it would look more like this. In an Avernus situation, it would look more like this. But I mean, I always adjust based off the situation. So this is what I mean. People get real confused when they come to my streams, like on my channel. I stream Idle Champions on Tuesdays and Thursdays currently. Because I'll just have some odd formation in that's really not optimal while I'm pushing. And then I optimize it once I get to a wall and I'm having problems. Then I start messing with it. So I tend to just do functional, somewhat funky and functional until I get somewhere. And then I just save that as the thing. And then I adapt it to whatever I end up with. But I think a lot of these, this is in general, these are the champions that currently end up in my pushing formation. All things created equal. Maybe not in this specific arrangement, but this looks pretty familiar. This looks pretty familiar. But again, I mean, I have, different gear and item levels and things than other people. The robotic dinosaur. I'm one hero away from being able to split the party. Nice. The event for unlocking sounds hard. Any advice for it? I've got a guide for that. And here's the best thing I can tell you is that if you read through the guide, even if you just read so that you're prepared for it, you don't have to use my formations. You can. I have formations that will walk you through the whole thing. But if you can unlock split the party, you can do it. Period. Split the party 1 and 2. If you can unlock it, you can do it. So I know it sounds difficult and you might fail it if you just go in without prepping. But if you can unlock it, you can do it. And I've got a guide for that. So shakes of milk. Ooh. Now I kind of want a milkshake for lunch. Are there any plans to make cross-platform accounts possible in the future? Disclaimer, I'm not a developer. I don't work directly for Idle Champions. They contract me to do these streams to help answer questions about gameplay. I have no insight truly into what might happen in the future. However, this question I can answer only because they've answered it many, many times. No. This isn't something that's... A lot of people try to put this on developers. This isn't about a developer choice. This is about platforms not wanting to share users and the money those users spend. Are there examples of games that do cross-platform play? Yes, and those are the exceptions to the general rule that platforms don't like sharing stuff. Platforms don't like sharing stuff. Bublicon, yeah, I already answered Dadius. I think people got that in chat. Dadius for your time. Breakerfist, do you ever use Rhea for your non-stream variants? I mean, I've used Rhea on stream too. Yeah. it just always comes down into variant to who I think is going to give me the best, and who's available, and who's I think is going to give me the best chance of completing something. I've used Rhea to complete lots of variants. Here's the thing. This slot 6, is the holy grail of Idle Champion slots. I think there's only one champion that comes in like slightly less than the others, and that's Sergeant Knox. He probably comes in a little under everybody else, but everybody else here is solid. It's just the problem is it's super, super, super strong champions. They're all real great, but when you can only pick one, you can only pick one. Isn't Trials cross-platform? Yes, but not in the same. So, how does it explain the difference? You don't get to go take your account and go play on a different platform. But Trials does allow people from different platforms to play together because they're not transferring funds anywhere, if that makes sense. It's about money, folks. It's about money. Platforms want money. So, just because they're letting you play with someone else, I mean, it's not an MMO. Even MMOs usually don't run cross-platform. But in this case, because it's asynchronous, they don't have to directly connect to everybody at once. They just have to pull information occasionally, which is why you don't see real-time updates on DPS and why you shouldn't worry about those numbers on those screens. And if someone's done something or not yet, they might be doing stuff, but yeah. No, the original question cross-platform was meaning, can I take my account from my phone and go play it on Steam? And yeah, that's not a thing. There's also no account transfers. There is an account migration if you were playing on WebGL, because they're doing an end of life for WebGL. There's going to be no more WebGL, which is a good thing for the game overall. Maybe not if you enjoyed playing on WebGL, but I don't know that people did, and that was part of the problem. The Lurking Writer, you're getting near the end of the questions. How do you know? You can't see my document. We're having brunch before lunch now. More seriously, what reward do you most want over the next 3 weeks through Idle Champions Presents? Ooh. I mean, I like the skins. I think giving out skins is great because there's now a power functionality to skins. So if they can give people more skins, that's awesome. Like, what do I think the best reward would be that I think is the most useful long term for everyone? A prismatic vial. But if that shows up, that's probably week 7. What rewards do you want to see the characters experience? I would like them all to live through this. But that almost, spoilers, that almost didn't happen. So, Genkon, in Potpourri, is it worth it to add more Potpourri after 3? If you can get your second bond to 3, if you can get both bonds at 3, and you can add more to Potpourri without reducing the overall power of your formation, then yes. Right? It's all about what can you adjust to make your numbers the highest. And adding a fourth Potpourri is going to increase some things, but what are you giving up to do it? Make sure you're not giving up too much, right? So like right now I'm 4-3. So I am getting a little more of a bonus here, you'll see. It's a bit higher. Like if I pull out, who am I going to pull out? I'll pull out Arkira. So here. I went from the base is just like the other, 337 EO4 up to 722 EO4. So it wasn't a huge bonus, but it was a bonus, and I'll take it, but only if I'm getting, a comparable bonus, at least an equal bonus from the person that I swapped out. Right? Bossman 0. Will we ever get I've got a guide for that, a stream counter. Probably not. Maybe on my channel. It's easier to do on my channel because I can make the things that happen in chat affect my overlay, and I could put like a visible overlay up or something. And I don't think that's something that would ever happen here. Because this chat can't affect my stream, unfortunately. Unfortunately. I wish it could. I can't. As someone that's just streaming to the CNA Games account, I can't get access to chat in the same way that I can if I'm streaming to my own account. So I don't get to do some of the fun stuff that I get to do on my stream, which again, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. I do stream Idle Champions a couple times a week. Schedule for Sundays is currently off. We used to do it on Sundays too, but not now. I don't know what I'm doing on Sundays yet. Stay tuned. But over there, I can even take your questions from chat and put them on the stream, which is super nice. I can't do that over here. I wish I could. Alt-Me Gaming. When, how will I gain access to trials? So, that's kind of why we're here. We're in Elturel's Last Stand. This is the final mission in Avernus. So I come out here. It's right here. You start here. You go all around this huge map, and you come right back to where you started. Elturel's Last Stand. This is a basic storyline adventure in Avernus. Complete this, and not only do you unlock a patron, you also unlock access to Trials of Mount Tiamat. It will first make you do an adventure called The Mad God, which I feel like should have said The Mad Goddess, but whatever. And then, since it even says The Mad Goddess here, and then once you complete that, then you can start your Trials campaigns. Mine's on a cooldown timer, so I can't really show you. And that will also get you access to the Forge, the Legendary Forge, and this is how you get legendary gear, like this here, this orange gear. That's lead, that signifies legendary. You'll notice that it has a bonus at the bottom that says legendary, increases the damage of all Aarakocra champions by 1%. Level 5, so I've leveled mine up. Ashara's given herself a nice boost. But yeah, you got to finish Elturel's Last Stand, and I do have a guide to that. Ryan the Wise, do you think Whittle may be a choice for short folk? I mean, yeah, possibly. I've got to see how she, for me, I have to see how she compares with Freely. Or not Freely. Regis. I need to know if she's better than Regis. If she's better than Regis for my formation, then yeah. But I think that's the thing, is you need to figure out how you were doing. Because me, I was already doing short folk. If people were doing Dinar for Potpourri, then I mean, you've got to rejigger your entire formation. I don't know. But for those of us who were doing shorties with Regis, we just have to know, well, can she beat our Regis? I think if I want more attack speed, if I want to clear things faster and I already know I have the damage, yes. Yes. Because Ashara firing off multiple... Look at this, she gets multiple attacks, right? There's... What, is that 6 now? Does she get 6? Yeah, 6, right? So if she has a 25% chance to just do that again instantly, and also she's attacking faster because her attack speed is 6.5 seconds, folks. If you can speed that up with an adjacent support champion, like, oh, who do we got? Who's next to her? Baloth might be back there. Nope, his is 6. Penelope's is 5. I mean, that's better. Freely's is 4. Like, even just making it as fast as Freely's, not only does that mean she's killing things faster, that's also going to potentially factor into your bud calculation, make your bud higher for things like Fire Breath Potion and Ultimates. So yeah, I mean, Whittle could be a game changer. We won't know until we see her actual scaling. Rakadaka, I posted my Tier 7 Trials lobby in the Discord. What is the etiquette concerning posting join codes in chat? There's a channel for that. there's a channel. There's specifically a Trials channel now. So if you go to the Trials of Mount Tiamat thing, there's a looking for group channel. That's usually, yeah, if you've posted in there, that's the place to go. And I see your post, so you're good to go. You've just kind of got to wait for people. That's a high tier. You're going to need people who know they can complete that tier. Yeah, that may take a few days. I don't know. Kaisenberg, how's the game so fast, and how do you pick up gold automatically? Is it fast? I just put the speed core in. So my speed core is speeding things up a little bit. The speed core is speeding things up a little bit. I was like, is it? I forgot I put it on. There we go. This is normal. This is normal speed. So I had a speed core in that was speeding things up. But in general, there are other speed champions that can speed up the game. There's speed potions that can speed up the game. There's a speed core, Modron core that can speed up the game. There's lots of ways to speed things up. I can make it go real fast. I'm not going to. Picking up gold automatically is a function of my familiars, though. So, like, if you don't have any familiars out, the gold just lays there. But when you get 3 out on the field, it gets picked up automatically. 5, and it's going to pick up boss bag. 6, and see that seagull? Watch. Seagull go. Burr. Seagull dead. 6 kills the distractions automatically, too. Andrea Raven, so you don't use Okoria with the Sharon? No, I never have. I've tried it. My Tyrol is beefier in terms of the overall bonus that gets applied. So, again, it's just... man, this kind of goes back to my the very first guide I recommend everybody reads, which is Formation Strategy 101. Whatever makes your formation do best for you, do it. Everybody's going to be different. Everyone's got different gear levels, maybe legendaries. Like, there's going to be all kinds of things that are going to make your situation unique. So try different stuff out. For a lot of people, Okoria may be way better than Tyrol, but for me, that's not a situation that happens, or that's happened yet. Idiot Control, the way I play, I think I could benefit from 3 to 4 more familiars. The only gem ones I have less cost 100k plus. I'm also still a ways off from full epics on my evergreens. Are my gems better used for gold chests or even feats at this point? I'm getting 10 to 20 gems. 10 to 20,000 a day is a lot. But yeah, it's not it's not the 100k you need. But I mean, look, familiars are quality of life. If you find that right now the quality of life is the most important thing to you, then start picking up gem familiars. It's gonna take a while. I would almost recommend, if you've got like Human, to start investing heavily in Human if you want those more expensive gem familiars, and that'll raise your gem totals overall. Like when you're gem farming, if you're doing gem farming runs, you can earn a lot. I'm sitting at 494,000 thanks to high item level Human and Briv, and Sentry. So I mean, it just kind of depends. Like, do you want to kind of pause your progression in terms of gear and thus power to a certain extent to make your quality of life better? Go for it. But that's the choice that you're basically looking at. But putting more item levels into speed champions so that you're earning more gems can get you there. It's just not going to give you more power. Well, it kind of will, because if you're buying lots of gold chests to get lots of blacksmithing contracts, and then you're feeding those blacksmithing contracts into your speed champion, you're going to get more gems to buy more gold chests, right? That's the loop. That's the loop people like. That's going to get you full epics on your evergreens. It's going to get you lots of gold chest feats. And it's going to get you earning gems faster. It's just you do kind of have to slightly pause on... You're going to be spending more time gem farming than actually doing content in the game. But you'll end up doing that content faster later. It's this weird situation that CNE has put us in with uncapped speed items. Last couple questions, and then we're done. Let me get through these real quick. Juxie, earlier I was attempting Gargoth's Betrayal for Mert. Started struggling on the armored bosses. My bud was far lower than the average DPS. Oh, don't. Do some debuffs not affect bud? Got there. First off, don't... Base DPS and average DPS, they're both lies? They're both lies in one way or another. Bud is all... Bud and how far you can push area-wise are all that matter. Base DPS and average DPS, just ignore those. And you're going to be much happier. Much happier. So the issue that I'm seeing here is just that you're trying to compare average DPS to Bud, and that's causing your problem. Just don't do that. Just all debuffs affect Bud. All debuffs affect Bud. You just can't compare any of the DPS things at the top to your Bud. That's not going to work out well. The Broken Jay, what's the main gem farming method? For most people, it's Mad Wizard runs with speed champions. Mad Wizard runs with speed champions. And that's it, folks. Oh, well, hold on. Let me do this last one. I have a dumb question. How does the shield icon on boss health bars work? I found myself stuck on some and plowing through others. If it has a shield icon on it, if it has segmented health and a shield icon, that means it's armored. If it is armored, you have to do a minimum amount of damage to remove a segment. There are segmented health enemies, though, that don't have a shield icon, and you just need to do 1 damage to that, and that means anybody can do it. So you chew right through those. That's the difference. That's the difference. So hold on. Let me just... We're going to get out of here. The music on the way out is going to be... what did I do? What did I do? Oh! It's Space Hamster Blues. It's Space Hamster Blues. This is not the right... That's not right. That's not right. I'll do that later. I'm just going to show off a speed formation, or jump farming formation, but I don't have it saved right. So yeah, this is the song from Minsk and Boo. This was one of the earlier recordings that happened. So there's some audio glitches, we'll say. But we don't have any other highlights of this, so maybe if they make another one, I'll make it better. But so here we go. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will see you all on Monday in chat for Trials of Mount Tiamat. Outer Chambers presents. Bye.
Space Hamster Blues. I was on my way to Toro when I crashed and was struck down. Now I'm stuck here wandering with this loud and rowdy clown. But kicking for goodness, I hear him shout from town to town. Here we are in Baldur's Gate, fighting monsters and bale spawn. He said something about magic and swords forever won. But kicking for goodness, oh my goodness, not again. He says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, but it sure looks like the blues to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, 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 yeah. The rainbow Life was simpler out in space. Crossing stars in the astral sea. Whatever happened to me? Kicking down doors, blood on the floors, endless heroic killing spree. Says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple. It sure looks like a bruise to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, almost dead and it's thrill. My best friend trying to get us killed. The bigger they are, the harder he hits. Even demons and devils run back to their pits. The safety of numbers and will with these 5 or 6. Now we're heroes and legends, fighting evil with my crew. Beholders and dragons and goblins and kobolds, may our swords strike ever true. Where goes the stench of evil, so goes the cleansing wind of Minsk and boom. So now we go for the eye. Yeah, we go for the eye. How about we go for the eye? Yeah, we go for the eye. Oh, how time flies when you're going for the eye.
It's pretty great. Holy crap. It's amazing.